We are getting visuals of Rajnath Singh taking charge of his office today as the Home Minister. Let's cut across to those visuals first of all. Let's see Rajnath Singh taking charge of his office. He's the new Home Minister of the country. All right, you have the MoS Home Kiren Rijiju also sitting there next to Rajnath Singh. Rajnath Singh is the 34th Home Minister of the country, taking over at a time when he's also the president of the party. But since it's going to be one man, one portfolio for the party, Rajnath Singh will soon relinquish the post of the BJP president. Hectic parleys, in fact, between the BJP and the RSS have been on over the past couple of days to decide on who could succeed Rajnath Singh as the president of the BJP after Rajnath Singh now takes over as the Home Minister of the country. Now, the front runners for the BJP president, of course, at this point being JP Nadda and Amit Shah's name also doing the rounds. But today you have it there at this moment for Rajnath Singh taking over as the Home Minister of the country. Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu is now joining us with more details. Kamal, has Rajnath Singh outlined his priorities for his ministry?
Well, he's not interacted with the media, and remember, he just came over a short while ago around 1 o'clock. He took the charge. He's already gone in for a meeting with the Home Ministry officials who had prepared a detailed presentation for him. So obviously he wants to understand the nitty-gritties. We know there was a small function where he had facilitated Sardar Patel, the first Home Minister of the country, and after that he comes to Home Ministry right away. And remember, this taking charge had to be done earlier, but it was delayed because of the cabinet meet. And obviously he's come along with a lot of fanfare. A lot of people were standing at the corridors to really see the Home Minister really walk into these corridors and take charge. But remember, he's not really set the agenda. He has a lot of answering to do in terms of what he wants to do, in terms of continuing either with the policies of UPA or get his own vision. There also talk about whether he's going to continue with policies like the NCTC, whether BJP will have a different stand on the communal violence bill. So these are the things he really will have to outline at one point of time or the other. But remember, despite that, we also know that there is a lot of talk about how BJP has a very strong stance against terrorism. So do they plan to really do something different? Do they plan to take the states along with them? These are some of the broad outlines he would be looking at. But at this point of time, without making any sort of statement, he's really gone ahead and is taking a meeting with the Ministry of Home Affairs officials, right, which includes the Home Secretary, and obviously trying to understand the nitty-gritties.
All right, Kamal, do stay on with us. We also have with us Editor Gaurav Sawant joining us with the very latest. Gaurav, of course, tracked the cabinet meeting. Gaurav, also we'd like to ask you about the point that Kamal was, hinting at about the government trying to take all the states together. That is something that earlier on Narendra Modi had committed to. Now, even in today's cabinet meeting, was that taken up? Did he tell his ministers to do the same?
He indeed did. Venkaiah Naidu briefed journalists and said that Prime Minister Narendra Modi was insistent that all chief ministers, need to be taken along. He told his cabinet that whatever representations came, whether from chief ministers or members of parliament or even the common man, they should be taken up on priority. They should be addressed, and their development on each and every aspect should be tracked and a report submitted. So, there's a very systematic governance pattern that Prime Minister Narendra Modi seems to be talking about, telling his cabinet, one, there should be key result areas. As Venkaiah Naidu also said, that Narendra Modi was the chief minister for long, almost 12 and a half years. So he knows what the federal structure is, what are the pitfalls, where the chief ministers feel left out, and he insisted that chief ministers need to be taken along in any decision that the government takes. And Maha, you'd recall that even as in his election speeches, Narendra Modi would make this point that, the Prime Minister is just the first amongst equals and needs to take all the chief ministers along.
Kamal, coming back to you, you were just mentioning how the officials of the Home Ministry are at this moment making a presentation to the new Home Minister. Do we have a sense of what this presentation is all about?
Well, obviously, there are key ministry points which will be told to him. One is about terrorism. The next is about left-wing extremism, which the former Prime Minister had called the biggest internal security challenge. Then, obviously, there is going to be a focus on the Northeast. So these are the focus points, really. Also, there would be also talk about how to strengthen the bureaucracy in the sense of doing what they want to do. We also know, as far as the deadlines are concerned, remember the Telangana issue, they have to have a cadre division, they have to have an asset division. The Home Ministry is completely running out of time. So we can expect Rajnath Singh or the Home Ministry officials to actually go to either Seema Andhra or Telangana region before the 2nd of June. He's not really spelt it out, but yes, he'll really have to say what he wants to talk about as far as the Snoopgate Commission. Remember, this has been seen as politically motivated and most likely will be taken off completely. So in that sense, he'll really have to spell out what his stance is. Remember, whether it's on Article 340, there are other controversial issues as well. If we talk about the Ram Mandir issue, will it be a law and order problem? All these obviously come under the Home Ministry itself. They'll really have to balance the powers, not just in the BJP-led states, but also in the centre. They've always been opposing UPS policy, saying it's been opposing the federal structure. They're binging as far as the rights of the states are concerned. So these are several of the issues. We really have to see whether they come with a fresh outlook. Obviously, there's an entire stance where they want to be more approachable in the sense from the states itself. But on ground, on paper, obviously it seems very different. But on ground, will they really be able to make that sort of difference and change the stance? We'll really have to see.
Gaurav, coming to you now, will there be a real change in the way that India has been fighting Naxalism under the new regime?
Well, that clearly remains to be seen, whether Rajnath Singh is a hands-on man or whether there is a directive that comes from the Prime Minister's office on how this needs to be tackled, this issue needs to be tackled. If you recall, in the first cabinet meeting, this was the second cabinet meeting this morning, in the first cabinet meeting, sources had told Headlines Today that whatever policy decisions are taken by various ministries or heads of those ministries, the Prime Minister's office will have an overarching control or a view on all those policy matters, and the Prime Minister will directly have consultations not just with all the ministers but also with all the secretaries of various ministries. Now, as far as the Home Ministry is concerned, if you recall, the first meeting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi had after meeting Cabinet Secretary was meeting the Home Secretary and getting a briefing on the internal security situation of the country. So perhaps Naxalism is going to be one of the key result areas as far as the Ministry of Home Affairs is concerned and as far as the government is concerned.
Kamal, in fact, that's a very interesting point that Gaurav is making there about how there will be a lot more PMO involvement perhaps as far as internal security goes. There was also speculation that internal security might be shifted from Home Ministry right under the PMO. Now, what are the nitty-gritties at this point in time that officials have been telling you which could perhaps pose a hindrance or a problem if two different departments or say two different ministries are handling one specific department?
Well, there's been a speculation that there could be actually a division of Ministry of Home Affairs with internal security, the most important part of MHA going under PMO, especially with a direct call from the NSA. But that may be unlikely since Rajnath Singh has come in. But we'll really have to see whether they give the specifics or not, whether they have a vision on that particular thing or not. And remember, Mr. Chidambaram had also suggested a bifurcation of Ministry of Home Affairs. But what he has suggested was that the internal security should be kept in Ministry of Home Affairs and all the peripheral ministries or areas should be taken out and be given into another department itself. But what Narendra Modi's government has suggested is just the opposite, that taking out internal security and shifting it to PMO. But we'll really have to see whether they're very serious about it. Because obviously there would be too much on the PMO's platter if they also take a look at the internal security.
That's right.
There would be too much of grabbing of attention. So obviously experts are obviously saying that this is not the right way to go about things.
Kamaljeet Kaur Sandhu and Gaurav Sawant, many thanks for getting us those details.